as you said, he really brought some young riders through in GP. He brought, the current world champion H.Y.M up from Moto2 straight into the factory team. And the same, bringing Alex Rins in created a real killer duo last year. And that's continued into this year with Suzuki and bringing their first title in about 20 years. So, the man did an awesome job. So hopefully he can take that over to F1. But we mentioned earlier about beating everyone to get up the ranks. Now, I've been set boys.
I knew where that was going straight away.
I've been saying to Jake, Oscar, I've been saying, look, I really want to get a successful F3 driver on here, to give his inputs and talk about how to drive an F3 car properly. What was it like racing him? Come on, tell us everything.
I'm trying to think if we actually had many wheel-to-wheel battles.
No, I mean, you would have been too far.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, mate, this is appalling,
I think we had one at Silverstone, maybe.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, we didn't crash into each other, so that's probably a good start.
That's probably why we're on the podcast.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I had no issues with Jake. Pretty sure he didn't have any issues with me. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be speaking here at the moment. So yeah, it was all good from my point of view.
Yeah, the only other thing was the drama. I mean, drama's not the right word. Just the palaver around the whole qualifying in Monza.
Yes, that is a very good point. When basically you pretty much I got a penalty in qualifying for impeding someone, which was questionable, and I'm pretty sure Jake actually was in the stewards against me, but was actually defending me from the stewards. So that was very much appreciated. Didn't help me in the long run.
Yeah, still got the penalty. I was a bit gobsmacked, to be honest, by their reasoning, because we talked a lot about that before that weekend. I mean, we saw it the year before in Monza in F3 and then even F1 quali. Everyone's searching for the toe, and obviously the driver's briefing comes around and they don't really talk tough on it. And I think someone raised the point, rightly so, that it comes from whoever's at the front of the queue. So there needs to be a kind of gentleman's, that in itself is where the problem lies, because you're not going to get a gentleman's agreement that is adhered to by a racing driver, where the person in the
F3 drivers.
Yeah, exactly. We're all selfish and we're all fighting for our own careers anyway, which I get, but in that case, it wasn't your fault, really. I mean, there was if it wasn't you that blocked me, because I think I'd actually done 2 purples or something like that. I was on a good lap, and then I came across you first, but it was actually you were trying to get out of my way, and I would have been blocked by another 10 cars who were 100 yards up the road. So it's
this stuff's been happening. It was the same arguments in 2010. When did I do it? GP3 2011. The same arguments. Always just waiting for someone, and at the time we had even more of a tow because we had the less powerful turbo engines with different aero package, so the tow you could get around there was massive, and it would just never change, simply, particularly in Formula 3 when you need it. In F2 you can probably still do the pole lap on your own if you get a really good run, but not in F3.
Well, it's because we've got 30 cars now as well. It makes it just so much worse. I mean, the reason they give is they make an argument saying, we give you 30 minutes and you all arrive on the same track at the same time, almost saying we need you to spread out. It's like, well, why do you think that is, really? Then we'll calculate on a computer exactly when we need to go out to do the lap at the last moment. And you think someone in their truck's going to say, oh, you know what, we're not going to do that today, and it would be nice to Prema and HWA and let them all do it last.
It's some of the stewarding throughout the whole year, to be honest, was questionable at best, and I'll leave it at that, I think.
But it always is, particularly from a racing driver's point of view. You always disagree with something. I know they're trying to do their job, but I'm not going to go in too hard on them either, because I'm still wanting to win some races without getting penalties. But I had some of the guys or girls that I had during my junior career or single-seater career as well, that I found that I had the biggest problem with the people that had never raced themselves, because they don't know what it's like. and all stewards should always have that person at least in the room with them to bounce off, that they can have a chat with and say, well, what would this situation actually be like, instead of giving someone a penalty just because they think it's wrong, not necessarily knowing themselves.
So I think, yeah, we had the same problem in World Supersport 300, where you just get basically like a queue of bikes into the last corner, and everyone like kind of looking over their shoulder, thinking, "There's, who's going to be the first to blink and kind of get in the wind." But they kept pulling us in, and basically, in the end, they came up with something like, right, if you're on track, you have to be within, it's like 107% or 110% of your sector times. So if you're slowing down in a sector, they'll really see it.
Yeah.
However, how much difference do you think that made?
Naffle.
They didn't follow it.
Big zero. But yeah.
Problem is, if too many people do it as well, they don't want to be seen to give. Mind you, actually, I was about to say they don't want to be seen to give the whole grid a penalty, but actually in F3 they seem to give basically half the grid a penalty. Especially in 2019, I think those 16, 17 guys out of first got a penalty.
Yeah. I think I remember speaking to someone about that 2019 qualifying, and I was texting them at like 1 a.m. and I was
still
like,
in the stewards.
Yeah, and I was like, don't you have a race in like 8 hours or something? And he's like, yeah, I built the track. I'm going to the stewards room in like 10 minutes. So I was pretty amazed at that.
They called every team in one by one for like, I think that each team had a 10-minute slot to argue basically. But what do you think happened? Everyone ended up having half an hour. So I was lucky we were second after ART, I think, or something like that. But yeah, some teams were really unfortunate. But obviously, away from all that stuff, I mean, I'm sure Alex is chomping at the bit to get his point in anyway. But obviously, you had a good year. So how was it joining, obviously, Prema for the first time, delivering on that sort of necessity of the championship, I guess, with what Alpine or Renault at the time was probably asking of you?
Yeah, it was like you said, a really good year. I think joining Prema, there's, I don't want to say a mountain, but a pretty big hill of expectation on you.